Can one sour sip really beat the meds, melt your fat, and protect your heart? Don't blink. Its greatest superpower comes at the end. I'm Sam. I'm a cancer survivor, research nerd. Every week, I cut through the wellness hype and hard data. Today, we're doing a deep dive on apple cider vinegar to decide whether it's a miracle, a myth, or something in between. Another week, another discovery. Let's dive in and let's get this going. To start this off, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the things apple cider vinegar might be known for, or things that are floating around, and I'm going to grade them A through F here in real time. Then at the end, we're going to talk about apple cider vinegar's strongest claim and give it a superfood score at the end. So hang out and watch the whole video. First off, we're going to hit some ones pretty quick, and let's just hit them off. So first, speeds digestion. Human trials show that apple cider vinegar actually slows digestion. So this claim, straight up F, fail, hard pass. Cures cancer. Eesh. This is the one I really wish it would be great at, but unfortunately, no real human evidence has been shown to find apple cider vinegar cure cancer. However, I'm going to give it a little bit of a nod, at least in the case in the lab. They have done studies in a petri dish where apple cider vinegar does actually cause some cancer cells. I don't think they've tried every strain, but some cancer cells to die, which is a win because not everything does that. However, with apple cider vinegar having acetic acid in it, which makes it very acidic, it isn't a large leap to think that it could still kill a living cell. In our body, it's hard to say what exactly it'll do. I don't think it will cure cancer, but it might be part of overall helping your body improve its cancer-fighting ability. So we're going to give it a D instead of a straight F. Clears acne. Now this is maybe, if you're really in the wellness side and you're looking for random things, they have found that apple cider vinegar in the lab can kill the acne bacteria. The problem, obviously, once again, with acetic acid and the acidic content of apple cider vinegar, putting it directly on the skin to try to, have the acne go away, can be not recommended. So the key here is properly diluting it and using it in the appropriate manner. It, at least in the lab setting, has shown to do it, but people really don't actually attempt it, and there aren't any great human studies of it. We're going to give this one a C. All right, jumping into some little bit in between wins. Moderate evidence. Weight loss assist. So everyone wants to lose weight. There was a study done in Japanese study, where they gave apple cider vinegar 15 to 30 milliliters a day for 12 weeks. And what they found is the participants lost 3 to 4 pounds. So this is a human study, and we actually saw results. Then another study was done in Lebanon, where they did a similar study, and they found a dose-dependent drop in BMI and body fat, and they were using 5 to 15 milliliters a day. This is likely caused by its ability to make your stomach empty a little bit slower. And in this case, these participants were larger, more overweight people. And what this indicates from my perspective is it can make you less hungry for longer, and you might eat less, which could lead you to lose weight. But apple cider vinegar is not going to replace eating less and controlling your calorie intake. So it is not going to be a miracle drug. It is not Ozempic. And this is not a plug for Ozempic either. We'll give this a B because it did show evidence, but I think it's not going to be the ultimate cure if you're trying to lose weight. Heart health. I love me a compound that can impact your heart health. Some analysis was done with apple cider vinegar, showing that 15 milliliter a day for 8 weeks can help lower cholesterol. Yeah. But anyway, it can lower your good and bad cholesterol, or lower your bad cholesterol and raise your good cholesterol. But it was minor and not super impactful. So it wasn't that great. This is not going to replace your medication, but as part of an overall lifestyle, it can at least be said it can be slightly healthy and improving those areas. But if these are your chronic conditions, apple cider vinegar isn't the plant or the action for you. There's better ones for you. I'm going to give this a C+. Antimicrobial edge, there is some evidence that apple cider vinegar can disrupt, specifically in a lab setting, E. coli, MRSA, and Candida, and cause them to die. The real question is, and there hasn't been a lot of great studies, is what can it do for you internally? Likely what you can do in a petri dish in a lab setting, you can't do in your body. And so we'll give this a C. There might be some benefits, but this is not a standalone wound antiseptic for sure. All right, the big winner at the end here, we're going to talk about apple cider vinegar and blood sugar control. So, what does apple cider vinegar actually do well? What it does is it can lower or slower the emptying of the stomach. There's an enzyme blockade that it does as you're digesting your food, and it can also cause the glucose in your muscles to, or cause better uptake of glucose in your muscles. All this leads to is better blood sugar control. You're going to have less of a spike after eating a high carb meal because your body takes longer to handle the blood sugar, or all the sugars in your body. A study was done, kind of the keynote study, Johnston in 2004, where they identified with 10 milliliters for 8 weeks a noticeable improvement in your fasting blood sugars as well as your actual just blood sugar management. So here we'll do a little bit of a comparison of apple cider vinegar versus some other great foods that can help with blood sugar. So you've got Fenugreek. I'm probably saying that wrong, Fenugreek. We might actually have to do a video about that at some point. Curcumin and cinnamon. And what we found is that apple cider vinegar beats them all with a 29 drop in fasting blood sugar, which is significant because for those of us who have issues with fasting blood sugar, a 29 drop is a huge amount. But some other great options, honorable mentions here. We've got cinnamon and curcumin and I can't pronounce the other one. Fenugreek. These are great options as well, but they do not touch apple cider vinegar. So the takeaway here, if you have blood sugar issues, type 2 diabetic, they even had a slight study with it impacting people who had PCOS. I think it all kind of ties down to the blood sugar regulation and then the benefits of your blood sugar being more regulated, and then there's some side effects of that impact other things. But this could be a great option to add into management of control of your blood sugar. The key here is dosage is important because apple cider vinegar is actually very acidic, as we all know, and you don't want to take too much of it. A tablespoon, 1 or 2 tablespoons a day, diluted appropriately, is probably the way to go. But you want to keep an eye out for, acidic feeling in your stomach, acid reflux, or things like that, enamel decay, things like that, to really consider what you want to do. Then you also might actually want to talk to your doctor because it can conflict with other things that are directly impacting blood sugar because it actually works so well. So you want to be careful if you're taking, it along with insulin to make sure you're not, dropping your blood sugar too much. All right, so let's give it a score. Blood sugar, I'm going to give this 4 stars. There's strong evidence that this will actually work. Heart health and whatnot, we're going to give it 2 stars. It was okay, but not that impressive. Weight management, 2.5 stars. The rest of the claims, we're going to give it 1 star. It is not the cure-all for everything, but if blood sugar is your problem, it is a great option and would fall in the superfood category. Overall, with all the hype of apple cider vinegar, I was expecting it to be able to do a lot more than just this. Overall score, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. We'll call it a superfood, but it's a one disease solution versus a multi-disease. And I was hoping for a little bit more than that. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you use apple cider vinegar for, and share this with someone who maybe has blood sugar control issues to help them in their everyday life. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. God bless.